What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an amazing day today and I hope it gets even better from watching this video. Today we're chatting all about how to actually become productive. I'm gonna share a bunch of actionable, tangible steps, habits, hacks, tips, whatever you want to call it, to actually become productive, manage your time better, to fulfill your goals, make your dreams happen, whatever you want to do. I personally use these tips because I used to be a mess, okay? I would start something, I would be excited about it, super productive for 3 days, and then I would give up. That used to be a habit for me. So it is possible to change because trust me, I was not born this way. I wasn't naturally like this. I wasn't raised to be this way. This just wasn't one of my skills at all. And that's totally fine. But I personally saw that I really needed to do something about this in order to do the things that I wanted to do and live the life that I wanted to live. So these are the tips that really helped me and I'm going to share them with you guys today. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Nika, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I make videos all about self-improvement and I like to make them very actionable to-do list form so that you can actually make a big change that you're looking to make. So if that sounds like it's your cup of tea, I would love for you to stick around and subscribe and also check out my social media if you want to see more of my personal life. And without further ado, let's jump straight into it. A really amazing way to be more productive but also manage your time better is to automate as many tasks as possible so that you can limit the amount of time you spend on those boring, repetitive tasks that you probably don't want to do and have more time for the actual important things or the things that you really enjoy doing. One amazing tool for this that I've been using for a few weeks now and has saved me so much time is Magical, and they're actually sponsoring this video. So if you don't know, Magical is a free productivity Chrome extension that's super quick and easy to set up. It literally takes seconds. Basically, it uses AI to automate all the boring stuff you don't want to spend your time doing, all the repetitive emails or messages, updating forms, spreadsheets, stuff like that. It works on every website and it saves users 7 hours a week, which is insane. There are so many ways Magical can help you save time and energy and increase your productivity, but two of my favorite features that I use pretty much every single day are templates and AI reply. This is my Magical workspace, so you can see all of my templates here. So these are basically my already made automated replies. So the way you create one is you click create and then you write a trigger. So this will obviously trigger the reply and then you just write the email. You can also use AI to generate a template for you. And then when you go into your email, you can either just write the trigger and it will fill it out for you. Or what you can do is you can write / and then you can see all of the templates you've made and just choose the one that you want. And you can also use AI when you're replying to emails. So you have these quick replies, so a positive one, a negative one, and then one you can customize. So if you want to try out Magical, save some time, increase your productivity, you can download it at getmagical.com. I'll have a link at the top of the description box. And thank you so much to Magical for sponsoring. Now let's get into all the other tips and tricks to increase your productivity. Number one is morning habit stacking. So I'm sure you've heard about habit stacking before. It's in the Atomic Habits book, so a lot of people talk about it. It's basically where you stack different healthy habits to your already existing ones to make a sort of a routine so it's easier for you to stick to. So the 3 habits are one thing that makes you feel positive, one thing that makes you feel healthy, and then one thing that makes you feel motivated and productive. So you can of course make this your own so it actually works for you because we're all different. But for me personally, my positivity habit is a gratitude list. I write 3 things I'm grateful for. The second habit, as I've already said, is something that makes you feel healthy. So if that's doing some stretching, taking your dog out for a walk, if that's making a green juice, taking your vitamins, drinking lemon with water, whatever it is. The third one is something that makes you feel productive and motivated. So that, for example, could be listening to a podcast or a motivating YouTube video. So in this case, habit stacking would be, let's say I already make a cup of tea in the morning, and that is a habit that I've had for such a long time, it feels like second nature. I don't have to think about it. So now what I'm gonna do is when I make that cup of tea and I sit down to drink it, I'm gonna write my gratitude list as I sip my tea. And then let's say I take my dog out for a walk, that makes me feel really healthy, and I listen to a podcast that makes me feel really motivated, inspired, and productive as I walk my dog. So that is how you can stack those habits. But the point is that all 3 of these need to make you feel positive, healthy, and productive / motivated. So it has to be tailored to you. And the reason why I like to personally do this in the morning is because it really sets me up for success. And if I feel really good, positive, healthy, like I want to be productive, I'm motivated in the morning, and I do things to make me feel that way, I then want to continue that pattern on for the rest of my day. The second tip is figure out what makes you procrastinate. Get super, super clear on it so that you fully understand what makes you tick. So ask yourself, if I'm being honest with myself, when do I procrastinate? Or if I'm being honest with myself, what do I feel right before I start to procrastinate? Because usually it's triggered by some sort of feeling. I procrastinate when I feel overwhelmed and stressed. It makes me feel out of control, and I hate that feeling more than anything. Like, I will avoid it like the plague. So of course I start to procrastinate because then I don't have to feel that way and I can just distract myself by watching something. So figure out that pattern for yourself. What do you feel before you start to procrastinate, or what triggers you to start procrastinating, and then how do you procrastinate? And what are the type of tasks you usually procrastinate on? For me, they're very specific things. So if I'm stressed, I'm not going to procrastinate on everything, but there are a few key tasks that I usually procrastinate on. So now that I have a very clear picture of this, I can ask myself, sit down, honestly think about, how can I make positive changes now? Like, how can I avoid getting to a point where I feel so overwhelmed and stressed that I start to procrastinate? So just write it down and start implementing that into your life. So for me, what made the biggest difference is creating an actual organization system and a planning system that works for me. We'll get to that towards the end of this video. Don't you worry. But that made a huge difference because I could plan ahead and I could plan to give myself more time for things. And I now understood which type of tasks I hate doing and I procrastinate on, so I would plan accordingly. So just think about what you can do to help yourself. That's what you're doing. You're helping yourself, your future self, and you will be thankful to your current self for doing this. Trust me. Okay, let's stick with the same theme and talk about how to deal with tasks that you either hate, strongly dislike, or procrastinate on, because obviously most of us have to deal with those things in our daily lives. It's not very realistic that everything that you do in your life is going to make you happy and make you feel good and you're just going to love it all. I mean, maybe that's true for some people and kudos to you, but I think all things in life come with their negatives also. And when it comes to things that make you happy and are worth it to you, it just means that the benefits outweigh the negatives. Like, the negatives are so worth it to you. So again, get very clear on what those tasks are. Like the tasks that when you see them on your to-do list, you're like, yay. Just write it down, like make it super, super clear. And then ask yourself, how can I deal with these tasks in the most simple, easy way for me? I'm gonna share a few little hacks that can help you, but this again is very personal. Like, we all deal with things differently. So it's the most helpful if you just think about it and try to come up with a solution. And you can just try different things and see what actually works for you. So one way you can deal with this that really helps me is to schedule these tasks at a specific time. So whether you reserve one day for all of those tasks, I personally don't really like that because then I hate that day. Or you can like reserve a specific time in your day to deal with a few every single day or a few times a week, and just try to make that routine of doing those tasks super pleasant. So you can play your favorite music, you can make the lighting in your apartment really nice, you can make your favorite drink, or just make it enjoyable for yourself. Or what I found works best for me is to go to a cafe because I'm super productive there. And the whole experience of walking to the coffee shop, getting my favorite little drink, sitting down, like being in a nice place, it makes me enjoy it more. So that's what I personally do. But again, you need to find something that works for you. One hack that's also, it's so simple, but it also works for me, is when you're sitting there and you can't make yourself do something, you're just thinking about how you don't want to do it, how it's gonna suck, and you're making it a elephant, like it's the biggest thing on the planet. And then when you do it, it takes 5 minutes and you're like, why did I think this was gonna be so awful? So when that is happening, when you're sitting there and you can't make yourself do something, you're gonna count to 3. You're gonna shut up with the excuses and mute that part of your brain for literally a count of 3. And then you're just gonna get up and do it. It's something that takes practice, but it's also so simple. So next time you're sitting there doing something, try it out. Count to 3, get up and do it. And that is a new rule for your life. You count to 3, you get up and you do it. And you just train yourself. The last hack I wanted to mention here is something that really helps me because, again, I get stressed and overwhelmed and then I procrastinate. So whenever I'm feeling that way, I ask myself, how can this be easy? So if I'm thinking of a task that's really like complicated in my mind, again, I made it this huge thing because I've just been overthinking and stressing. So then I sit down, get my journal out, and I ask myself, how can this be easy? How can I make this easy for myself? And again, it's such a simple thing, but it works because usually when you're overwhelmed and stressed, you overcomplicate things. You overthink it, it becomes this huge thing. So when I ask myself, how can this be simple? It activates like a different part of my brain that's like, oh, this actually doesn't have to be this difficult, you know? Or I like find a new way to deal with it that's way easier and more simple. So I highly, highly recommend trying that out if you get overwhelmed and stressed and deal with the same patterns as me. Okay, before we jump into a bunch of time management tips and tricks and hacks that I have, I feel like this is so important to mention. So obviously, the more you do the things that are actually important to you and make you feel good, the easier it is to actually be productive. Because when you're doing something that's meaningful and important to you, you have that intrinsic motivation. Like you don't have to do that many things to get to that place. It naturally feels that way because again, when something is important to you, it makes you feel good, it makes you feel happy. Those negatives, the hard parts, they're kind of almost irrelevant. Of course, like it sometimes sucks to deal with them, like we're all human, but it's like so worth it. So you deal with it in a much better, easier, more simple way because that's the like small cost or price you need to pay for doing this amazing thing that makes you so happy and makes you feel fulfilled and just good, like you're doing something that's meaningful and important to you. I am personally not a huge fan of thinking about it in terms of what's my purpose because it gets overwhelming. It's like I need to narrow it down to this one specific thing. So just like thinking of it in terms of what is my purpose, it made me feel stressed. And I was like, I don't even know myself anymore. Okay, great. What do I do now? Like, I hate it, okay? I don't like it. If you know what your purpose is, amazing. Go to the next timestamp. But if you don't, it's totally fine. I feel like a huge part of life is like figuring out what makes you happy, what makes you feel fulfilled and amazing. And I feel like thinking of it in terms of what's my purpose is a little limiting and just for me personally didn't make me feel great. So I think the best way to deal with this and to get started and something that's so actually easy and simple is to figure out your main values, your like core values, and then how to prioritize them. And I actually have a whole video about this, so I'll link it up here because I have so many more tips I want to share with you. So if you're interested in that, I'll link it up here and you can watch it when you got the time. Alrighty, the next, I don't even know how many tips, a lot that I have are related to like time management, how to become just amazing at managing your time, and that obviously increases your productivity a lot. So the first two tasks, I recommend giving yourself like a week to track this and kind of figure it out. Number one, figure out how much time specific type of tasks take you. So if one of your tasks that you do every single day is replying to emails, figure out roughly how much time it takes you. So when you go throughout this upcoming week, just put a like stopwatch or timer on and see how long it takes you. The second thing is to figure out how long it takes you to lose concentration with specific tasks. So again, how long can you reply to emails until you lose concentration? Or how long can you do your reading for school or your homework or whatever before you lose concentration? Just again, track it for a little bit and see if you can find like a common theme, and then it will help you to plan your life accordingly and manage your time better. So now that you have all of this information, you can assume which tasks kind of drain your energy or amplify your energy, what tasks are like deep work, something that takes a lot of mental energy and focus, and then which tasks are like light tasks, something that's super easy, you don't even need to think about it much. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna plan that into your schedule accordingly. So for example, if I'm doing a task for like 2 or 3 hours, something where I need a lot of mental energy and focus, then I already know that after that very focused deep work, I'm gonna be a little drained. Like I am not gonna have a lot of energy to give, and I'm gonna need a bit of time to recharge. And it's good to know how much time you need usually to recharge. So for me, the next task would be like clean the kitchen or vacuum the floors, or if it's work related, it would just be something that's very easy for me, like making a thumbnail. It's like, it's more creative. I don't really need to think much. That way I can still be productive and like get the things done that I wanted to get done in the day, but I can also recharge from that previous task that took a lot of mental focus. And then my next task can again be something that requires more deep work. So that way you don't get drained or burnt out, or you just feel exhausted and stressed. We're obviously all different. Something that works for me might not work for you. So tracking these things and figuring out how you work, how long it takes you to recharge, how long it takes you to lose concentration, how long certain tasks take you. You just make sure that you're planning accordingly, and then your schedule or your plan, your to-do list is working for you instead of against you. Because why would you set yourself up for failure? The next hack is something that requires a little bit of delulu brain, but I'm sure we can do it by now. We're all experts. So what you're gonna do is when you have a deadline, so whether it's for school, for work, whatever, you have a set deadline that was given to you. So let's say you need to turn in a paper for school on the 10th of February. So what you're gonna do when you get that date, you're gonna move it, okay? So let's say you're gonna do it on the 5th of February, and you're just gonna forget about that other date. It doesn't exist anymore. The only due date that exists is this one that's on the 5th. And again, you forget about this other one, okay? They've lied to you, it's actually the 5th. And you go with that like it's the only truth that exists. And so then when the 5th rolls around, you don't go, oh, I actually have 5 days left. No, you don't. The due date is the 5th, okay? So again, you need to be a little delulu and like convince yourself. But it really, really helps me. I do this with literally every single due date, and it makes me feel so on top of things. And also people love to work with me because they know I'll be on top of things, and they know that I will actually send them whatever I need to send them or do the work that I need to do ahead of time. And people like that. Delulu, but we can do it. The next thing that I highly recommend so that you don't burn out, or like I used to do this, so I was a mess, as we've discussed. And then I would watch a video like this, and then I would get super motivated and excited, and I was like, I'm gonna change my life. Everything's gonna be different starting tomorrow. And then I did that, and then I did it for 3 days, and then I gave up, and it was too much because I planned too many things and I wanted to do it all at once. So first of all, keep that in mind so that you don't do this, and just make sure you take breaks. And that can be really simple. You can just literally step outside on your balcony, your terrace, whatever, breathe for 5 minutes, go back inside, make a cup of tea, and then sit back down and go back to work. Obviously, some tasks require a longer break. That depends on you, but it's important. And if you are someone like me, I get really hyper fixated and I have a really intense focus, which is mostly a good thing. But then I forget to like eat, I forget to drink, I forget to take a break. And then after I'm done with the task, I feel dead. My mind is mush and I just need to lay down, and I can't do anything else for like 2 or 3 hours. It takes me so long to recharge. So if that's you, just make sure you have a timer or something that goes off so that it reminds you to actually take a break, because that's going to help you to have longevity when it comes to your productivity. And also, if you notice that you schedule too many things in your day and you have this like motivation now to be super productive, or you started a new like project or something and it's super exciting, so you just want to like fit as many things into a day as possible. That definitely happens to me. So what I do when that is the case is I plan my free time, my like social interactions, my, I don't know, going to Pilates, whatever it is, things that are not work related and that recharge me. I plan those before I plan anything else. So you plan in your breaks before you plan anything else. So those are just a few solutions that you can try out if you struggle with this. The next one we've all heard about 1 billion times before, so we're not gonna spend too much time talking about it, but plan your day the night before. That way you've got a set plan and you can really sit down and focus on making that plan really, really good. And then the next day you can just go back into the flow of actually working. It just works the best. There's a reason why everyone recommends it. Another little hack I wanted to mention is a question you can ask yourself either when you're planning your day or if you're deciding what task you want to do next. And the question is, what is the highest and best use of my time right now? So again, it's just another hack you can try out and see if it works for you. The next one that is so important is to find a planning and scheduling organization system that works for you and is super simple and easy and doesn't take a lot of time. My system is I have a calendar where I write down all of my like appointments, meetings, therapy sessions, birthdays, things like that, things that are set in stone. And then I use Notion, just like a simple to-do list, and I write down all of my tasks in terms of when I'm gonna do them. So that works for me. It's super, super simple. And because I already know myself and how I work, I don't really need to categorize my tasks into like priority tasks or quick ticks or projects or whatever. But if that's something that you need, then pick a planning system that involves that, something that again works for you, because we're all different. I go through my whole system of how I plan my goals, set my goals, my habits, my routines, track everything, and then plan my months, my weeks, my days. I have a whole video on that where I go through everything, and I'll link it down below, and I share my Notion template in that. So I'll leave that template down below also, but in the video I go through the whole thing so you can see how it works. It's super simple, it works for me. So if you're looking for a system, you might want to try that out. But again, you want to make it something that is easy and simple for you, that makes sense to the way your brain works, and just stick to that. The last thing I wanted to quickly mention is the importance of discipline and the way you view resistance. So when you want to start a new habit, let's say that's running, you usually have some resistance because it's hard to start a new habit. It's hard to push yourself out of your comfort zone and do something you've never done before. And you might not experience that for the first 2 times because you have that like motivation and excitement of like doing a new thing. And then when that wanes off, it's so important to learn how to deal with that resistance. And I talk all about that in my discipline video. So yeah, just check that out if you're interested. And there's a lot of other little tips and tricks that might help you out. Alrighty guys, that is it for this video. That is my productivity advice. I really hope you found some new tips and tricks and habits to try out and hopefully add to your like productivity system arsenal that's suited to you and works for you. Again, if you like this video and if you want to stick around, I would love for you to subscribe and check out my social media for more of my personal life. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week for a new video. And until then, I hope you have an amazing week and I'll see you soon. Bye.